वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम
ओम
नमो
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
So, text 8 was that, Vishnu Dutas continued. Even previously, while eating at other times, this Ajamil would call his son, "My dear Narayan, please come here." So, simply by chanting the name of Narayan in this way, he sufficiently atoned for the sinful reactions of millions of lives. So, in the beginning, he was pure. But even though he committed sinful acts, he was offenseless because he did everything in ignorance. So he did not commit offenses against the holy names. Most importantly, namno hi balad yasya papa buddhir. He did not take shelter of the Lord while committing sinful activities. So if one chants, so that's why we talk about Agyat Sukriti. If someone chants the holy name without offenses, one will become free from sins. Hmm. So even though it was not deliberate, but still it was effective. The chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement for a thief of gold or other valuables, for a drunkard or for one who betrays a friend or relative, for one who kills a brahmana or one who indulges in sex with the wife of his guru or another superior. It is also the best method of atonement for one who murders women, the king of or his father, for one who slaughters cows, and for all other sinful men, simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu. Such sinful persons may attract the attention of Lord Vishnu, who therefore considers, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to give him protection. But here, the point is it should not be offensive, this kind of chanting. That means one should not be a devotee already and then committing these activities. If one becomes a devotee and then he starts committing illicit sex, then he is going to get much more punishment. Actually, Lord Vishnu himself will send him to punishment. So, this kind of all these activities are applicable on a mundane platform. So, if one, out of the force of habits or, out of previous conditioning does this, then he's excused. But if one does it deliberately, that thinking that holy name will protect me, then this protection will not come. So, namno hi balad yasya papa buddhir. So, one has to be very careful. So, this is the glory of the holy names. But that is also a very important point that, one should be very careful. Hmm. So, so there are atonements which can free one. Hmm. So you see, for example, it is stressed that although one may become free from the reactions to the most sinful activities by following the religious principles of these scriptures, this cannot promote a sinful man to the stage of loving service of the Lord. On the other hand, chanting the holy name of the Lord even once not only frees one immediately from the reactions of greatest sins, but also raises one to the platform of rendering loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is famous as Uttama Shloka, because he is famous for his glorious activities. Now, question may be asked here is, then, like how do we understand this? So the point is that chanting of the holy name purifies one of sinful reactions, and because one has now shelter of the holy name, one will eventually be promoted to the loving devotion service of the Lord. But if one still has to perform that loving devotional service, one cannot just attain Shuddha Prem just like that. One still has to work for it. Yes. Any questions or comments? Then we continue. Text 12. नैकान्तिकं तद्धि कृतेऽपि निष्कृते
एकांतिकम प्रति
कान्तकं कृते अपि निष्कृते
पुनः पुनर्धावति चेदसत्पथे
पुनः
मनः
पुनर्धावति
पुनर्धावति चेदसत्पथे।
चेदसत्पथेः
तत्कर्म निर्हारम् अभिप्सतां धरेर्
तत्कर्म
कर्म निर्हारम्
तत्कर्मनिर्हारम्
अभिप्सताम्
अभिपस्तां
हरेर्।
हरेर्
गुणानुवादः खलु सत्त्वभावनः
गुणानुवादः
वाद
खलु
खलु
सत्त्वभावनः।
सत्त्वभावनः
Yes.
मेरी
Would like to read?
मेरी को
Yes, please.
हरे कृष्ण
Yes,
धर्म
please.
पढ़ना translation purport by Sri Prabhupada की जय. Translation: the ritualistic ceremonies of atonement recommended in the religious scriptures are insufficient to cleanse the heart. Absolutely, because after atonement, one's mind again runs towards material activity. Consequently, for one who wants liberation from the punitive reactions of material activity, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, a glorification of the name, payment pastime of the Lord, is recommended as the most perfect process of atonement, because such chanting eradicates the dirt from the one's heart completely. Purport. The statement in this verse have been confirmed previously in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.717. Sarvanam Sev Kataha Krishna Pune Sarvane Kirtana Hridaya Anant Sato He Abhandive Vidyanti Surat Satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of the Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Super Soul, in everybody's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotees, cleans desire for material enjoyment from the heart of devotees who relish his message, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. It is a special mercy of the Supreme Lord that as soon as he knows that one is glorifying his name, payment attributes, he personally helps clean the dirt from the one's heart. Therefore, simply by such glorification, one can not only become purified, but also achieves results of pious activity. Unne Savan Kirtana. Only Savan Kirtana refers to the process of devotional service. Even if one does not understand the meaning of the Lord's name, pastimes, or attributes, one is purified simply by hearing or chanting the of same. Such purification is called Sattva Bhavana. One's main purpose in human life should be to purify his existence and achieve liberation. As long as one has a material body, one is understood to be impure. In such a impure material condition, one cannot enjoy a truly blissful life, although everyone seeks it. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.5.1 says, Tapodhyam Puttike Jani Tattvam Sudhite. One must perform tapasya, austere, to purify his existence in order to come to the situated path. Tapasya of chanting and glorifying the name of and fame and attributes of the Lord is very easy, purifying process by which everyone can be happy. Therefore, everyone who desires to ultimately cleanse his heart must adopt this process. Other processes such as karma, jnana, and yoga cannot cleanse the heart absolutely. Hare Krishna Bhajan.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Very good.
शृण्वतां स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत सताम्. See, Krishna is absolutely beautiful. Krishna's activities are also absolutely attractive. He's Krishna. I mean, he's Krishna. He's the all attractive. So by hearing his activities, by chanting his holy names, one is bound to be purified. So, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, what is written in the 10th canto? So this verse was also recited by King Pratap Rudra to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam. See, the nectar of your transcendental glories, it brings, tapta jivanam, it brings satisfaction to the burning lives. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham. So, Samana Mangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Granantiye Bhuridajana. So, the nectar of your words and descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations, transmitted by the learned sages, eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly, those who spread this message of Godhead are the most munificent. See, how can one not hear of Krishna and how can one not be hearing of Krishna and getting attracted to him? If you simply hear about Krishna, his activities, his glories, you will be attracted. Only a stone-hearted person will not remain attracted to Krishna. So this is the position of the holy name. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Nama vina kichu nahi ko aar, chauda bhuvana maje. That in the 14 worlds, there is nothing besides the holy name. See, in this material world, people commit sinful activities, born of their sinful desires. Then, fearing the punishment of those activities, they commit they commit to atonements. But atonements simply purify the reactions. The desires still remain. This is the very same question that has been asked previously also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Parikshit Maharaj is asking, why do people atone when they are going to commit the sinful activities again and again? What is the benefit? So this is the point which is being emphasized here again, that such kind of so-called atonement is of no use because it does not purify the desires from the heart. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So one may give up sinful activities. And we can qualify that statement by saying that one may give up sinful activities and even atone for them. But the taste for those activities never goes away. The taste still remains there. We hear the story of Vishwamitra. So after 8,000 years of hard work, of hard austerity, he saw Menaka, and immediately his heart was captivated. And then after another thousands of years of austerities, this time when Indra sent Rambha, he saw Rambha. But instead of being captivated by her, he became angry, which is another form of lust. So we can see that because he was not thinking of the glories of Krishna, he fell down. His position was compromised. On the other hand, we see the story of Haridas Thakur. Maya Devi personified came to distract him from his mission. But he was not distracted because he was only thinking of the glories of Krishna. In fact, he could initiate her into the chanting of holy names. So you see, this is the glory of the holy name. Punya Shravana Kirtana, the process of devotional service. So because as soon as we render devotional service to Krishna, we are immediately, we are captivated by his beauty, and then we cannot give up. Even in the sadhana stage of bhakti, actually realizations start right from the very sadhana stage. And the devotee starts getting attracted to Krishna, even though he's not able to perceive Krishna directly, but even indirect perceptions of Krishna are enough to captivate one's heart. And a devotee is unable to give up devotional service. All the other processes, karma, jnana, and yoga, they cannot purify the heart. They can purify of some sinful desires, but they cannot purify him from the material nature itself. Because false ego will still remain there. But chanting of the holy name completely dissolves this subtle body. It completely dissolves the false ego, and the living entity is established as an eternal servant of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Dandavanam, you mentioned about this very nice, beautiful verse, Tava Katamritam. So that is actually, I think, a part of Gopi Geet, right? It comes
Yes.
in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes.
So, okay. And then Prataprudhu Maharaj also recites this to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes. This is the songs of the gopis.
Okay. So it was like Prataprudhu Maharaj wanted to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, therefore he sings it. Like, what is the context there?
Yeah, so Mahaprabhu is taking rest, and therefore Prataprudhu sings this to attract the Lord's attention. Now, one very interesting point, actually, the historical perspective is definitely quite interesting that Mahaprabhu was always attracted by someone who would glorify Krishna. But there's another perspective here which is far more interesting, and I think it deserves a little more exploration. So sometimes people are still confused about the position of gopis. Their activities are seemingly sinful, but here they are singing. These narrations transmitted by the learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. So that's one very interesting point. So by simply hearing the glories of Krishna, one's sinful reactions are eradicated. So how can gopis be sinful? Because they are with Krishna himself. They are very much in love with him, and he very much is reciprocating their love. And then other thing that we understand also here is the qualifications of gopis. They are not some ordinary village themselves. They're highly qualified sages. Because they're saying these narrations transmitted by learned sages, they are themselves like experts in the scriptures. That's why they have attained a position where they can think of only Krishna. And then there is one affirmation here which Krishna gives in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. Krishna is also saying, one who preaches my message is very dear to me. Krishna is most munificent. So who can be more munificent than Krishna? Only a devotee of Krishna who is preaching his message. And naturally, if someone is more merciful than Krishna, then certainly Krishna will love him even more than himself. So that's the loving exchange between a devotee and Krishna. That's why, Jare dekha tare kaha Krishna Upadesh. You must preach about Krishna everywhere. Janma sarthak kari kar paropkar. Save your life and then save others. Perfect your life and perfect others. So always think of Krishna. So simply by thinking of Krishna, eventually you will become purified of all sinful reactions. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I also have three questions. First one here, at the end of the first paragraph, it says such purification is called Sattva Bhavana. So Sattva Bhavana का मतलब सत्व consciousness, भावना, does it mean consciousness?
नहीं, आप जरा ध्यान से पढ़िए. What is that word? सत्य भावन.
ओ भावन. ठीक है.
भावना.
हाँ. ठीक है जी. तभी I was like, okay, why?
There's this poetry in Urdu. I remember I used to hear it as a child. नुक्ते के फेर से खुदा से जुदा हो गया. Just in Urdu, if you put the dot above the letter, it becomes khuda, meaning God. If you put the dot below, it becomes juda, meaning, parted.
Makes sense.
Just one dot can separate you from the Lord.
True. ठीक है बाबू जी. Thank you. अब दूसरा क्वेश्चन है, here it says कि आपने कहा कि लोअर टेस्ट है. तो जब हम किसी लोअर टेस्ट में होते हैं, इवन दो वी आर रियलाइजिंग कि ये लोअर टेस्ट इज नॉट गोना हेल्प अस, से इट्स गोना वेस्ट टाइम और व्हाटएवर, डिस्पाइट ऑफ द फैक्ट वी स्टिल रिमेन टू सम एक्सटेंट अटैच्ड टू द लोअर टेस्ट. इज दिस बिकॉज क्योंकि अभी हमें हायर टेस्ट से इतनी अटैचमेंट है नहीं, तो डिस्पाइट ऑफ द knowing the negatives of this lower taste, we still remain attached?
We haven't surrendered fully. We are still sadhakas. We are practicing. We are still under the influence of lower modes of nature. We still haven't perfected our practice. See, at this stage, we practice the chanting of the holy names as an exercise. The taste will gradually come as we go on surrendering. That that sinful burden has to go away first from us. That burden is still there. So therefore, we are not able to think of Krishna properly. Like Prabhupada says, within 1 minute you can become a pure devotee. 1 moment.
Means कि chanting, of course, हमारी offenseless नहीं है, तो it isn't like it is showing some impact, but it isn't showing full.
We are still having past misconceptions, so we are still attached to this materialistic activities. उसकी वजह से ऑफेंसेस हो रहे हैं ना, मतलब
Mm-hmm.
maintaining so many material attachment despite hearing so many instructions in this
Yes.
regard,
Yes.
वो ऑफेंस तो अभी भी हो ही रहा है हमसे,
हो रहा है।
इसलिए थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा।
और एक और वो जैसे आपने कहा सम डिवोटीज आर सेइंग दैट, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर जी के व्हेन वी हियर सम भजन्स ही इज सेइंग यू आर माय लाइफ एंड सोल। प्रैक्टिकली क्या मतलब है व्हेन दे से दैट यू आर माय लाइफ एंड सोल?
You are the objective of my life. You are what I'm living for.
Means के fully surrendered, everything is for Krishna.
Everything is like I'm living for Krishna only.
But life and soul, we have to take it like a phrase, na, bro. But like,
Life and soul as a phrase, मतलब not मायावाद.
Yeah, मतलब के नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर when he's singing those bhajans, he's actually like वृंदावन consciousness show कर रहे हैं वो, है ना?
हाँ,
ठीक है जी।
नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर के सारे भजन नहीं सुनने हैं, especially this one, Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishore. That's not
अच्छा
our
जी।
position. That's way more advanced than us. I mean,
ठीक है।
it's not a fashionable song to sing. Kalendira Kule Keli Kadambera Vane. No, that's not for us. We are not seeing them this way. Like Prabhupada says in the beginning stages of sadhana, accept Radha and Krishna only as your parents. I mean, Narottam Das Thakur is in Manjari Bhav, but we are not.
Yes, makes sense. ठीक है जी। Thank you so much प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा जी। Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, text 12.
so those bhajans of Narottam Das Thakur, which he speak on Gaurang Mahaprabhu, and then he's in the mood of separation. Mostly it is his separation mood is there. So those can be practiced.
Yeah. Shri Krishna. Which is that one, Savran Shri Gaur Pad Pad Mein Prarthana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo Mare. That you can sing. That's a very nice song. They sing it in Mayapur every day.
One more Prabhu, Gaurav Prabhu Na Bhajiya Mainu.
Those are good songs. Vipralambha.
Yes,
So those
Prabhuji.
messages, those yes, those you can sing. Those you can sing which are in Vipralambharas. But those which are in Madhurya Bhav and all, because that is his realization. Ours, we don't have any realization. We are still begging for mercy. Shri Krishna, Daya Karo, Shri Acharya.
Just to ask, even we are still not feeling full separation. Vipralambha also is not fully there in us. We feel sometimes.
No, we are trying to develop Vipralambha.
Yeah, slowly is there.
See, in previous days, when we used to sing this Jayanilo Premadhana Karuna Prachur, if you hear this song, it is so full of, what you can call pathos. Eka Kale Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur.
First 1-2 times I heard, I was like feeling like crying at that time. Now it become hard-hearted, I feel.
Yeah, and we don't even remember when our acharyas have passed. Like sometimes, oh, yesterday was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur disappearance day. Oh my God, I forgot. Or we are counting, half day fasting. Let us, okay, 12 o'clock, let's eat something. Shengdana. You see, so we are not even in Vipralambha, we are trying to develop that because that is a sanctioned emotion for us at the moment.
Yeah, that was a
So we should always
nice statement you made, sanctioned emotion, because everybody feels that what is wrong in that emotion. Everybody has their own emotion towards the Lord, but sanctioned emotion is what is very important. Like Dasya Bhav is very important rather than any other bhav.
Yeah, because we should be in separation only. We are not seeing any of these acharyas. They are there, but we cannot see them.
For sadhana bhaktis, bhaktas, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's almost all songs are can be practiced, like Gopinath, Mama Nivedan Suno, or all songs I could say, Prabhu.
Yes, his Arunodaya Kirtan is so beautiful.
Yes, Prabhuji.
That's literally like, that's literally the soul of every sadhaka, Arunodaya Kirtan. If you see, actually, that's the emotion that we need to have, that expressed in Arunodaya Kirtan, that we should think. Oh, some devotee was asking me today actually. Yeah, so for that devotee, that's my advice. Please hear Arunodaya Kirtan very, very carefully. And that mood you try to cultivate. If you can cultivate that mood, the whole path of bhakti is right open in front of you. If you can summarize the Gaudiya mood, like of a sadhak, that's Arunodaya Kirtan of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Yes. Hmm. So,
Yeah, I have just one question. I don't know, this may be foolish, but you were telling about that how these devotees who are preaching are extremely dear to Krishna. So what about those devotees who are not keen to preach, or they don't want to even preach this knowledge to anyone?
so Mahaprabhu is giving this instruction. Amara agya hai har guru taraha ei desh. So preaching doesn't necessarily mean that one has to go out and talk to people. Preaching, one can assist preachers. Like sometimes we go to temples and we see that there may be some brahmachari who's like not very educated or very shy. He's simply cooking prasadam, cleaning the temple. So he's also preaching. He's preaching through his own behavior. He's also preaching by assistance to those who are preachers. That is also preaching.
Okay.
So together working cooperatively. Like Prabhupada, in the beginning, he let Matajis go out and preach. But towards the end, Prabhupada wanted to protect the ladies.
Yeah.
So if a lady is helping her husband very much who's preaching, then she's also preaching. So assistance in preaching is also as good as preaching. Krishna accepts everything.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Yes. But certainly if one can preach directly, then one should do it. Yeah. So we continue. Text 12.
13.
Yeah. Someone has a question?
नहीं, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, just
Dandavat Pranam.
some people who speak little differently, like the preachers who advise to follow things, rather than there are some other method who are practically trying to restore the mind to sanity or to make somebody peaceful, not Krishna consciousness. There are some other method who are practically helping a person through seminars, through some other courses, and this, that, by counseling, by this thing, they're practically helping it. Like one of my relative, very close relative, she said, my whole past 7 years, I have read Bhagavad Gita. I did my chanting, but it could not help me to remain the peace attending I am right now. I could not do it through my chanting. So she has approached somebody, a counselor who is helping, and she is regaining her mental health better, spiritual, so-called spiritual health better, but somehow she is not chanting now fully 16 round. So I meant to say, even if there are some who are doing this, and they are saying that the preachers who preach, they give only the talk, or the philosophy which is there in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is not practically possible for everyone to apply into their mind. So for me, it is not possible to apply to my mind Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam or chanting. So from this, I could not relieve my problems of life. So I found from this program, some other program. Just if you like to say something about it, Prabhu.
So you mean she kind of got her mental peace after going to some mundane counselor?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So yeah, because you see, because of her past sinful karma, she had so much of mental disturbance. Okay, that's one thing. That past sinful karma brought her to the condition where she is suffering so much. Now she has gone to some counselor who's counseling her, which is okay. She's like some kind of mental, like like we go to a doctor to fix our stomach or our chest or anything. So she has gone to a mental doctor like that. But after this, if she's not able to do devotional service, then it's of no use, because that sinful karma will stay there. It'll again come back. So she will have to suffer again. Maybe not in the next birth now. But this atonement can only be done if she takes to devotional service wholeheartedly. So it's nice. It's fine if she has gone to a mundane counselor. But after that, once the mind is peaceful, then she should take to devotional service. Otherwise, she'll fall back into the same whirlpool again, from which she had tried to escape.
Yes, Prabhuji. But by doing so, she has now have little less faith. Her faith in holy name or for faith in our devotional process becomes so less faith. So she has not engaging her time in this. She is doing further seminar, mind relieving seminar, then some other seminar for becoming more stronger in this thing, mental health, emotional health, all these things. So to make mental emotionally fit, she is sacrificing her time, not chanting, not reading, not by doing other what activities, devotional activities. This time is being sacrificed, and mental, emotional, all these things are related. More seminars, courses, all these things are she is doing.
Yeah, so this is unfortunate situation. This is unfortunate. Like, she never had faith in the holy name to begin with. Now she has found some relief. See, we are not chanting because it gives us some relief from material miseries. That's just a byproduct. We are chanting because we want to get out of material nature. The cause
Yes.
of our suffering is not some piety or sin or this person or that person. The cause of our suffering is material nature itself. That's the fundamental point of Shrimad Bhagavatam. That one may think, oh, my sinful reaction has caused me this problem, or such and such inimical person has created this problem. No, Bhagavatam is explaining that material nature itself is causing all the problem. Even a pious person has to suffer. Why is that? That's providence. One may be very peaceful, one may be very pious, but he still has to die. So death still comes. So all those sufferings are coming. Birth, old age, disease, and death will come to everyone, whether pious or impious. So that means the miseries of nature are natural. They are, coming as a part of the package. No amount of piety can save us from that. So this seminar, that seminar is not going to help.
So, Prabhu, better is one has to tolerate this pain, mental, emotional pain. One still continue chanting and practicing devotional, all this our process, and one should tolerate and accept the miserable condition. And do better, more surrender more, and surrender, have more faith on holy name and praying more, increase more devotional activities. It is the right path.
See, what is Krishna saying in Bhagavad Gita? So let's see these two verses. Now that you have raised this topic, this is very important question actually that you're raising. See, Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Agama Paino Nityastam Stitikshasva Bharata. That is one verse. So, because simply by being in contact with material nature, you will experience happiness and distress. Happiness and distress. Unfortunately, we want happiness, but we reject distress. We cannot do that. If we accept happiness, we'll have to accept distress. That's why the saintly souls, they reject the happiness also. So then Krishna is answering how to understand this further. Yamhina vyathyante te purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram so amritatvaya kalpate. The person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Tolerate happiness and distress and remain samadukha sukham dhiram. Stay dhira. Be patient in both happiness and distress. So if your friend, if she wants to, avoid the mental misery, then she should avoid mental happiness also. If she can renounce that happiness, she'll be able to tolerate misery also.
Yes.
We cannot just take one. We can't just have day and not have night.
True, true.
So that is material nature. Happiness and distress are a part of this package.
Rightly, Prabhu.
That's why we chant
Right.
the holy name.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. In this
Dandavat.
context, I also had one question, Prabhuji. I also know one or two devotees who they say that when they before chanting, if they sit for 10 to 15 minutes and they just meditate on nothing, and just on emptying their mind of thoughts. Matlab, who those gyanis, yogis who meditate like that, saying then that really helps my chanting a lot. And now they are like almost dependent on that. Okay, they need to do that, and then they even want to increase the period. Initially, it is 10 minutes. Now they want to increase it to 20 minutes and 30 minutes, and they get a lot of bliss. Now, how to understand this? Should we be doing all this, even if it's
So, are they finding bliss in this meditation, or are they finding bliss in chanting?
they are finding bliss in meditation, and they feel chanting is also better after that.
So that means they are just hearing the words, then they're not chanting the holy name. See, we are not chanting the holy names to improve our concentration or become more peaceful. It's a prayer. If a dog is chasing me, I'll say, Mother, Mother. I'm not trying to focus on my name, on mother's name. I'm trying to save myself from the dog. So when we are
Chanting is
chanting the names,
better in the sense that the mind is less distracted.
but it is still not focused on Krishna. See, these mechanical activities are nice and fine. They are completely okay. But they should not become our dependencies.
Exactly. That
Then we
is
should
the
not.
thing.
Then eventually we'll become Mayavadis. Because this silence, focusing on nothing means Mayavad.
Exactly.
Eventually we don't want Krishna also.
Yeah, and the very fact that they feel the need that you need to increase that. I mean, you reach such a state of bliss that you then sit for half an hour, 1 hour in that, and you feel so good after that. So that is little
Imagine if death
dangerous, no?
comes. No, imagine if death comes like this when they're sitting silently. Nothing. They'll take birth as Buddhists. Next birth will be in Tibet or Ladakh. Dalai Lama. So, no, that is actually offensive, that Krishna, you are too distracting for me. You are not attractive enough. So I'm just trying to distract myself with nothing. That's the message, actually.
I mean, how these things can creep into our sadhana, it is so unbelievable, and we feel
See, that is the point,
justified.
That is the point we were discussing in the daytime also. That these are all distractions in the path of bhakti. All of this. We must stick to exactly what Prabhupada is saying. Just to give you one example, when we studied in our 12th standard, we studied physics, chemistry, mathematics. Our approach to physics was a numerical approach. We just used derived formulas and we solved physics. But a classical approach to physics is through Lagrangian approach. The classical approach to studying physics in high school is Newtonian approach through calculus. Not, u square equal to v square, v square equal to u square plus 2as and all that. Those are just derived values. That is not physics. In physics, we study motion, then derivative of motion, derivative of displacement, derivative of motion. That's how we study velocity and acceleration. We don't study directly as, v square equal to u square plus 2as. No, that's a wrong approach. Now, if we apply this approach, we may find it difficult. It exists, but we'll not be able to solve with this anymore. So, so there are different approaches. So different acharyas have different perspectives on the absolute truth. We may say, oh, this acharya has said this, that acharya has said that. That's all nice and fine. But follow one acharya. Otherwise, if you get distracted, you'll never attain your objective. Whether one can change one's swarup or not is even Jiva Goswami, when he's talking of these things, he's talking from the perspective of a pure devotee. I know there's a history of some devotee who changed his swarup and became a gopi or something. Very much possible. But all of that is just mere academic discussion when we are still struggling with the 4 regulative principles at a physical level. After we have conquered them at a physical level, then we move on to the mental level. Then we can think of Brahma Bhuta, and then we can think of Swarup. Right?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sure. So we stop here today.
Yeah, no.
We'll continue tomorrow with this discussion. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.